So this is 2022. I just go mark up here. Which one is this? This is January 2022, right? And this is what we're going to look at today. But I think after January 2022, we will be out of new questions to look at, right? Everything else I could find is repeats. If you guys know of something or have something, we could look at it, right? So for papers that I don't have PDFs of, what I do is I Google the year, and even if I can't get the PDF of the file to download from like PDF Coffee or so, you can still view it unscribed, so you can see what the questions are, right? And then of course, a lot of people online have made videos answering CSEC paper 1 questions. So you could also look for the year and view the video if you want to review the paper that way, right? Even if you just skip through the questions, you'll reassure yourself that it's repeats at least, right? So you'll have that option too. All right, so January 2022, I'm gonna go to 31. Apologize for the noises in the background. All right. These we've done before, so we could just go through them quickly, right? Rafael se enfermó, tanto que tuvo que. We have ir al cura, ir al colegio, guardar cama, beber más cerveza. What is our answer here? He is sick, right? So se enfermó. He was sick. He was so sick that he had to tuvo que from tener que, to have to, right? My mouse is sticking a little bit. So, all right. And so, therefore, he had to stay in bed, right? Remain in bed. So, ir al cura is go to the priest, right? But that's only if we are dead or dying, right? Go to school, drink more beer. That's not it. So, this is the answer here, 31C, right? Mañana va a llover, pero no puedo encontrar mi paraguas, right? My umbrella. Correct? Right. Los padres del niño perezoso se pusieron muy tristes a causa de sus something notas. So, parents of the lazy boy became very sad because of his bad notes, right? Good. Malas notas. 34. Los alumnos de la escuela San Miguel salieron something porque terminaron las clases, right? So they left school. How do you feel when you leave school? Contentísimos, so happy. Right. Right. So frustrado, frustrated, interesado, interested. Was avergonzado again? Ashamed, right? All right, 10 seconds. All right, let's continue. Tengo mucho sueño, por eso voy a. So I'm very sleepy, so I'm going to give a party, um, ring the bell, go to bed and sleep, get up from the bed. See, right? No tengo suficiente dinero para comprar este traje, suit, right? Es demasiado, it's too what? If I don't have enough money, it is too caro, right? Short, poor, cheap. So too expensive. E. Al ver que se habían chocado dos coches. So on seeing, plus the infinitive, on seeing something, right? The two cars had crashed. The man exclaimed. So hopefully he's not a psycho, so he says something normal. Yeah, D. Que desgracia. How unfortunate, right? Que fortuna. How lucky. Que alivio. How helpful. Que vista. What have you, right? Nadie responde al teléfono. La línea está, we have lista, directa, ocupada, preocupada. So nobody responded to the phone. Nobody answered the phone. The line is ready, direct, busy, worried. Busy, right? Ocupada, right? Any questions, please say, right? Yeah. 10 seconds again. All right, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Have you all decided what you're going to do with your vacation when exams are done? Right, so everybody's favorite passage. Okay, so we haven't done this one yet, right? Or at least if we did, it was a long time ago. Una ciudad desconocida. So what does this mean? An unknown city. All right, so let's just do a little pre-read together, and then I'm gonna give you some time to try and choose some answers, right? Un día mientras me something por la ciudad. So one day while I was doing something in the city, something que ya no. So if we look for forte, we have oí, sinti, sintió, entendió. Okay, that already I had not yet. 41. The city that I was something. in K-E-O Abia, in which I had. All right, so if we look at 42, all of these words come from Crisere. So it probably means in the city I was raised in. So the scenario is probably that, given that it's an unknown city, but it's the city they were raised in, 41 is probably that they didn't know, they weren't familiar with the city that they were raised in, right? Tantas cosas eran diferentes. Oh, wait, no. Okay, so things were different. Things had changed. So this ya means I no longer, probably I no longer knew the city that I was raised in, right? Ya no existían las casas pequeñas. So there were no longer small houses that um, what, boy? That we have saw, lived, worked, remembered. So one of those, right? En su lugar, in its place, we have algunas rascacielos sin vida. What is a rascacielo? And what is, if we don't know this word, now I remember we did the passage. If we don't know the word, let's use this as a clue. Sin vida means without life. Right? Me puse something triste, right? So I became so sad, very sad. All right. So I'm gonna give you all a moment now to think about what the answers could be. And the ones that you're completely confused about, you could tell me. Right? You are welcome to look up rascacielos, right? However, I do want to point out some clues to figure out what it is, right? You know, cielo means so sky. So it's something to do with sky. And the person just said, ya no existían las casas pequeñas. So there are no longer the small houses that the person was accustomed to. In their place, there was something, buildings then that have something to do with sky. Have you all figured out rascacielos? So rascacielos are skyscrapers. Right, great. Okay, so take a couple minutes, try and choose some answer. Un día mientras me, all right, so the mientras tells us that something was going on over a period of time because this means while. So we need imperfect tense. Look, they're all imperfect. Don't feel bad if you think you only figured out one, you might have figured out more, you're just not confident about it. Let's look at it together. So here you just have to know the grammar. Daba is from dar, to give. So while I gave through the city, no. Ayaba is from ayar, to find. So while I found through the city, I found myself through the city, no. Me paseaba, so we should remember that pasearse means to sightsee or to stroll, right? So that is our answer, right? While I was sightseeing, while I was strolling through the city, encontraba would be found. Like, no, it would be met because me encontraba. So it'd be you met somebody that you knew before, right? Okay. So the first one we're okay with paseaba, right? So one day while I was scrolling through the city, now we come to 40. Oí comes from oír, which means to hear. So I heard that. Senti comes from Where does senti come from? And then what does sintio come from? And entendió, you could probably figure out that this is well, what is entendió? From entender. Entender is to understand, right? So understood. Now they've given us a little help out here because they've put everything in portrait. So we don't have to worry about do we need imperfect or do we need portrait. We just have to worry about the vocabulary. All right. Where does OE come from? We said oír. So hood. Now we're between senti and sintió. Both of these come from the same verb. What's the verb that they come from? What is the verb that these two things come from? If you have to guess, you should be thinking along the lines of sentar, and you should be thinking along the lines of sentir, right? Because these two verbs, that's most of the stem. Sentar is to sit, and sentir is to feel, right? Now, if you look at the stem, actually, no, if you look at the ending, if you look at the ending, then which of the two verbs is it? Is this an AR ending or is this an IR ending? So I hope by now we've ruled out, have we ruled out any? Okay, so everybody look at 40 again, even if you sent an answer, right? Well, actually, wait, hold on. See, let me just double check the people who sent answers. Yeah, so let's double check the answers we sent, right? Who is telling the story? Is it, am I telling the story? Is it a yo person telling the story? Or is it an il or ella telling the story? Who is relating this passage of doom? It's yo, right? So if it's yo, only two of these verbs are conjugated in first person singular. The others are conjugated in third person singular to trick you, right? Sentir is stem changing in the third person, right? So what can we take out? We can take this out because the portrait endings are iste, io, imos, istes, era, right? And we could take this out. So that leaves us with oi and senti. So you have to choose between heard and felt. Right? So while walking through the city, while sightseeing through the city, I heard that I did not something the city, or I felt that I did not something the city. It should be felt, right? The general gist of the passage is, we got that from reading the passage, that this person's city where they used to live has changed. So probably what they're going to say is, I felt that I did not recognize the city anymore. All right. Now, while most of the passages you see will be repeats, we just want to make sure we could sharpen up our detective skills in case we have to use them because we forgot the answers or it's a passage we didn't look at in a while, right? All right, so 40 is B. 39 is C, 40 is B. Everybody understands why? If anybody is confused, please say, right? All right, 41 now. Ya no iba la ciudad. Ya no sabía la ciudad. Ya no sentía la ciudad. Ya no conocía la ciudad. Which one? Can we iba la ciudad? So ya no means no longer. In English, the translation is no longer. Literally, it means still no. So not still, no longer. Like I do not still know this place. I no longer know this place. Right? All right. So it can't be iba because we can't iba la ciudad. We have to iba por la ciudad or iba a la ciudad. Right? So it's not this one. This one is went or was going or used to go. Right? Sabia means new. And conocía means new, right? So this is the real trick here. So sentía would be what? Used to feel, felt again, right? Yo endings and aleo state endings in the imperfect are the same, so that won't help us this time. So it's really between B and D. What do we know about saber versus conocer in Spanish? Which is for which? No? All right. Okay. So saber is for facts, knowledge that you get from a book or an expert, right? And conocer has this meaning of to be familiar with. Right? So be familiar with, as in like you know them, you've met them before. Acquaintance, you're acquainted with. Right? And it could be people, but it could also be people, places, things. Right? So in this case, it's people. No, my bad. In this case, it's a place, it's a city, right? So we're looking for conocía. So ya no conocía la ciudad. I did not know the city anymore. I no longer knew the city. That I had, yo había. So we're at crecí, crecido, crecer, creciendo. That I had grown up in. I had been raised in. I had lived in. I had grown in. Right? So crecer is to grow up, like to get bigger. So now which one for this? So this is a verb había. So we need a past participle, right? Had, because we're saying had grown. And we have to say had grown because it happened way in the past. It's not happening yesterday. It's not happening last week. It's not happening right now. So it has to be had grown, right? So for grown, past tense, not past tense, sorry. Past participle, we're looking at crecido, right? Creciendo is growing. IENDO and ANDO endings, like hablando and so on, growing. That's the ing. Crecer is to grow. That's the infinitive. This is grew. So they could have said, I guess they could have said que yo crecí, right? But they can't say había crecí. Había needs the past participle. If anybody is confused, you need more of an explanation, please say it. Excuse me. Please say if you are confused or lost or need an explanation beyond what I'm saying, right? All right, tantas cosas eran diferentes. So many things were different. Ya no existían las casas pequeñas. So the small houses no longer existed. Que yo something. The small houses that I what? Again, we have imperfect tense, so thanks for that. So in this case, we probably mean used to, the used to translation of the imperfect tense, right? So is it used to see, used to live, used to work, used to remember? It has to be used to remember, right? Trabajar and ver would need something like en los que veía or en los que trabajaba, in the ones in which I used to work. Or los que veía, the ones I used to see. Actually, las que, because it's las casas and in las que. Right? So we don't have that extra pronoun there to help the verb fit in. So we're looking at recordaba. Que yo recordaba, right? That I remembered. All right. So with this understanding so far, can we look again at 44? Can you all look again at 44 and 45 and see what you would choose? In su lugar, we need to say there were, right? And, you know, my favorite verb in Spanish is I. There is or there are. And the past, well, there was or there were is había. Right? So en su lugar, había algunos rascacielos sin vida. There were some skyscrapers without life. Now, eran means they were. So we would say if we put that in su lugar, in their place, in its place, there were no. There were sorry, they both translate as there were. Eran means there were in the sense of like, no, not there were, sorry, they were. So in their place, the Casas Pequeñas place, there were some skyscrapers without life. So that doesn't fit. In their place, they saw some skyscrapers without life. So that also doesn't fit because it's you. And in their place, it was some skyscrapers without life. So it was would be grammatically incorrect. We need there were había, right? If I put in Iran here, I would end up, if I look back at the sentence, now it looks like algunos rascacielos matches with Iran, which is true, it does. But then when I read back the sentence, right, it would say algunos rascacielos eran sin vida. Some skyscrapers were without life. And while that may be true, it's changing the point that she's making. I'm assuming it's a she, it could be a he, sorry. Right? It's not that the skyscrapers are without life, it's that they replaced the houses. And they were without life. Okay, me puse muy triste. I became very sad. Okay, not tanto, not mucho, because they would need a noun. And I feel like tan would have to be tan for it to fit. I became very sad, right? I started to feel very sad. Okay, please look back at it, take your time, write down anything you need to, ask any questions you have. Should be easier. So a shopping experience, in case something servirle, señora. This is a stock expression, right? Mañana mi esposo va a something 50 años. So either it's going to be his birthday or they're going to have an anniversary, right? Y me gustaría sorprenderlo con un regalito especial. So I want to surprise them. I would like to surprise him, because it's my esposo, right? With a special gift. Busco algo para something. Are you looking for... All right, so busco algo para. So this should be a verb that... No. Okay, it's a pronoun, right? Porque va al concierto el sábado que... Because he's going to the concert Saturday that... Okay, well, the Saturday has to be coming because he's going, right? ¿Qué decía usted exactamente? A su esposo que something gusta. So what does he like? So 51, una camisa azul, a blue shirt, y un something largo. Something long. Que haga juego. Something la camisa. Right? So if I look at 52, that's different pieces of clothes. Largo means long. As well as the gender will help you figure out. Remember to look at the gender to help you figure out what the item is, right? Because I would be tempted to put corbata here in 52, but that would be wrong because the item has to be masculine and singular. Okay, so you guys take a try. This one I think is much more manageable than that last passage from another dimension. There's a stock expression, en que puedo servirle, all right? How can I help you? That people say when clerks or people in a store will say to someone when they walk in, right? Okay, mañana mi esposo va a something 50 años. So we have acabar to finish, cumplir to complete, terminar to end, completar to complete, right? So one of these we talk about with this and cumpleaños feliz, cumplir, right? So va a cumplir 50 años. So he's going to be 50 years, right? I want to surprise him with a special little gift. Busco algo para él. I'm looking for something for him. How are we going to translate this him? Para él, right? So A, 48A. Para él, para ella, but para mí, para ti, right? All right. Porque va al concierto Saturday. He's going to the concert Saturday. That something. So if he's going, it hasn't happened yet, right? This is another idiomatic expression, right? El sábado que viene. El año que viene. El mes que viene. The thing that's coming, right? ¿Qué desea usted exactamente? What do you want exactly? A su esposo que, so we need our indirect object here. What does he like? What is pleasing to him, right? So what does he like? To him, we're lucky he didn't put ill again for us to fall into that trap, right? Okay. It's because it specifies, right? Your husband. So it's not What you like is not que te gusta, it's que le gusta, right? So 50 is C. All right, so what is the person going to say? It's a command, right? And we're choosing between comprar and mostrar. So is the speaker saying, buy me a blue shirt? Then it's not vender, it's not sell me a blue shirt. So it can't be buy me. That doesn't make sense, right? So it's not B and it's not A. So now we have to think about which of these is the polite form that you would say to usted, right? So is it muéstrame or is it muéstreme? We will use subjunctive for the usted form, correct? So if mostrar is an AR verb, the opposite ending is the E. So D, muéstreme, right? As well as you might remember how to form the to form, um, which is you take the muestras and you drop the S, or you think of it as going to third person singular and using that for muestra. All right. Right. So show me a blue shirt and a long something. It's not corbata because that is feminine and whatever this is masculine. So obviously it's not skirt, it's not tie, it's a pantalon. How strange, it's not pantalones. But that is singular and masculine. So it's probably gonna fit there. It's not calcetines, that is plural, right? So un pantalón largo, a long pant. I guess fancy bougie people still say pant, middle-aged woman instead of pants. All right, so pantalón largo, que haga juego something la camisa. Aha, that goes with the shirt. So haga juego con la camisa. Okay, any questions? Anybody had a different answer for anything and you want to discuss why is not something? Just to clarify, hacer juego con is to match, right? It's another idiomatic expression. All right, well, should we take off right now? We'll take 5 minutes and then we will continue. Right, so we have one more day before, one more week, one more day, sorry, that could be very misleading. We have one more week, one more session before paper one, right? So I would like to use that to just go over oral stuff, listening stuff. That's okay, that sounds like a decent plan. What you could do, if some of the second half you feel like you're still shaky on, you could bring it to class, tell me which one is giving you trouble then, right? Now, passages, in terms of the long passages, like we just did Mr. Roca, right? This is the long listening passages. You probably remember, but there's Manuel's birthday, right? We haven't done that in a while, but we did it. There's Alfonso's date. Remember, he met somebody online and he met them at a fair, right? But we haven't done it in a while. What else is there? There's the one where the child falls out of the tree. I'm not sure if this is a listening or just a regular comprehension. I could be misremembering. There's the one where the woman is at night and the woman thinks it's um this is a possibility, right? It's robbers, but it turns out it's really the dog, right? And then there's the one with the bride, where they get a call And then there's one that I don't remember doing with you at all, which is a family going to the airport, which is actually the other 2022 paper. So if this is January, is the June 2022 paper. As well as probably repeated in other years, but I pinned it down to June 2022, right? Do any of these sound unfamiliar, completely unfamiliar to anybody? If so, you need to say, right? Because then next week, my priority is going to be this family going to the airport passage. That's my priority. And the others, we could just read through and answer the questions together, right? And then I want to look at the public announcements, right? Because those I think are the hardest ones. And whatever time we have left, we could go over the one sentence issues. Manuel's birthday, okay, no problem. We could do that one. Just please remind me, like if I forget you said you want to do Manuel's birthday, remind me, right? He gets a bunch of presents. He goes to his grandmother's house and he gets a bunch of presents. It's a surprise birthday party. His teachers are there, his children are there. Not children, sorry, his friends. Other children in class. Ooh, yeah. Okay. And if there are any others you don't remember, please say it is worthwhile to find the teacher scripts and read through the passages. If you cannot find teacher scripts, there's a bunch of very useful people who have made videos that show the teachers, that show the questions while they read the teacher scripts. They may show the teacher scripts in some. Make some time to go through them, right? You're just trying to find questions that we haven't done, if you could find any, or questions that you can't remember, because the paper is going to have a lot of repeats. All right. Cine mucho. Con nuestras 4 pantallas grandes, ofrecemos mucho más al público cada día. What are pantallas grandes? With our 4 large screens, right? Like a TV screen, but this is a movie screen, right? We offer much more to the public every day. And mediodía, so half day, 12 o'clock, noon. 2 películas para toda la familia, 2 pictures for everybody. A las 4, 4 películas para toda la familia, 4 pictures for everybody. Wow, it sounds like Palladium or Globe or something. Open back up, boy. A las 8, again, 4 películas para personas mayores de 16 años solamente. So here's all the family, all ages. So this is what? PG. And here it's over 16 and over, right? Ver nuestra cartelera completa del cine en el diario todos los viernes. So what do they tell you to look for? And when? What is el diario? Daily newspaper, right? And we're looking on Fridays. So we must be looking for their schedule. Our complete timetable, our complete schedule. Entrada, $12, if only, right? So how much? $12, right? So the ticket, entrance, cost, niños hasta 12 años, mitad de precio. What does this mean? Children under 12 or up to 12, right? Mitad is half. So half price for you if you're under 12, which is nobody here, so sorry. All right, any other vocabulary is unfamiliar and I didn't explain what it meant, please say. All right, I think this is just 3 questions. Should I leave? I want to move this up, so I have to take off the writing. Take a try. Take a try these 3 questions. ¿Cuántas películas hay en cine mucho cada día? So we have to count up here, dos. Oh, that's everything, right? Right, so dos, cuatro, cuatro. So 4 and 4, 8 and 2, 10, right? All right, 55. ¿Dónde se anuncian las películas que pasan en cine mucho? So where do they announce the movies that they have at Cine Mucho, right? Okay, and we talked about diario, the daily newspaper. So el periódico diario. And if you didn't even know what diario was, you could figure it out because you would look at this and see diario and say, oh, hey, diario, diario. That must be the answer, right? ¿Cuánto paga un chico de 5 años? So he is, yeah, he is under 12, right? Hasta 12. So half the price. So he pays $6. What a cheap little brother. Good? Any confusion? No, because it's the easiest thing you've ever done in your life for Spanish. Great. All right, let's look at this passage. I'm going to read it once with you and give you a chance to read it over. I think we did this already too, right? Era el 6 de junio, el último día del trimestre escolar. This is 6th of June, the last day of the school term, right? Aunque ya habían terminado los exámenes, Pablo se mostraba preocupado. So exams were done, but Pablo was preoccupied. He was worried. Esperaba nerviosamente a que llegara el profesor. He was waiting nervously on the professor to arrive. Que iba a anunciar los resultados. The professor was going to announce the results, right? Pablo era muy aplicado. Durante las noches se quedaba hasta tarde estudiando para los exámenes del profesor Ramírez, los cuales tenían fama de ser dificilísimos. What does this mean? Let's unpack this. He was very hardworking. And at night, he would remain until late studying for exams, Professor Ramirez's exams, which were famous for being so difficult, most difficult. Poco después entró el profesor. So just a little later, the professor entered. How is the professor doing? He's not losing sleep. Contento y radiante. Right? Content and smiling. Felicitó. So he congratulated a los estudiantes por sus excelentes notas, for their excellent notes. He advised them, les aconsejó que no abandonaran sus estudios. So don't give up on your studies during the 2 months that you would be on vacation. That sounds like something your teachers would say. Sin embargo, Pablo se quedó atónito. How is Pablo feeling? He's atónito. He is astonished. Y hasta lloró al saber que iba a recibir un premio por haberse destacado en los exámenes. So he's about to cry. But why? He found out he was going to receive a prize for having distinguished himself. Sorry, himself. He's just oneself. For having distinguished himself in the exams. I didn't write out any translations because I think we've done this before. But if you want to ask about any words, please say. I think this is better with the blue background. And okay, so if you have no questions about the vocabulary, take a try at the questions given. Okay, I think you could see answers and I think you can see the questions and the answers here, right? If I keep it positioned like this. And so try it. Try these 4 questions. All right. ¿Por qué estaba nervioso Pablo? Right. So A, right? Esperaba los resultados. He was nervous for his professor to arrive, who was going to announce the results. Nothing about the rest of these options mentioned. That he had not studied, he said the opposite. He was about to do an exam, nope. He had not finished the exam, nope. Why was the professor happy? El profesor estaba contento porque, so they tell us, felicitó a los estudiantes por sus excelentes notas. So he congratulated his students on their great marks. Los estudiantes salieron bien in los exámenes. So D, right? All right, so the first one was A. And the second one was D. All right, 59. ¿Cómo reaccionó Pablo al recibir los resultados? He was astonished and he was about to cry. So he was closest to astonished we get is sorprendido, right? Surprised. None of these other words are positive anyway. ¿Por qué lloró Pablo? Why did he cry? Because he will receive a prize. Will receive. Because he did not receive the prize, because he did not do well in his exams, because he has to repeat his exam. So not B, C, or D, but A, right? Iba a recibir un premio. He was going to receive a prize. All right. So this was January 2022 we looked at. Next week we're going to focus on just revising the passages from long to short for the oral part, listening comprehension part. And if you have any other questions, bring them with you to class, right? And or you can message at any point. You can just send a WhatsApp message with a question. Okay, guys, we're stopping here. Take care, everybody. Feel free if you have a question to remain to ask it, right? But other than that, enjoy your evening.